Good afternoon, and thanks for attending today's webinar on transition to retirement. We'll give everyone just a few moments to join the webinar and we'll commence shortly. Thank you. Okay, great. Looks like everyone has joined once again. Good afternoon and thanks for attending today's webinar on transition to retirement. My name's Jack Sheriff and I'm a member account specialist with Brighter Super. A main part of my role is to guide our valued members towards a comfortable retirement by giving them a better understanding of what they can do with their superannuation. By the end of the webinar, we'll aim to give you some of the tools to get you on track for an ideal retirement. I'll be asking you some questions as we go throughout the webinar to help you get a better understanding of the content. I'm joined today by one of our financial advisors, Mark Rabius and Silas Dingiria, who will be monitoring your questions in the chat today. Brighter Super acknowledges the traditional owners of the lands on which we are meeting and pay our respects to their elders, past and present and emerging. We acknowledge and celebrate the continuation of a living culture that has a unique role in this region. It's important to understand that the information and examples contained in the presentation are general in nature and have been prepared without taking into account your individual objectives, financial situation, or needs. It is important when making decisions about your super options that you obtain the relevant product disclosure statement and target market determination and consider your own personal circumstances. You can access these documents and add the financial services guide. You can access these documents and the financial services guide from the Brighter Super website. Today's presentation will run for about 45 minutes. Many of you have submitted questions already, which we've tried to incorporate into this presentation. You can also post questions in the QA feature during our presentation today, which we will aim to answer directly. Now, as mentioned, we have Silas standing by as our moderator today. He's regularly out in the field providing super health checks to members in different regions all across Queensland.
Thank you all for joining us today, this evening for the Transition to Retirement webinar. I'm looking forward to answering your questions. Therefore, thank you very much.
Thank you, Silas. We should have time for questions at the end and we'll try to answer as many as possible. We will also be running some poll questions throughout today's presentation. When the question pops up on your screen, please just click an answer that's appropriate to you. Now, before we move on to our main subject, I would like to take the opportunity to briefly explain who we are, as we have some non-members joining us today. The merger between LGIA Super and Energy Super, plus the acquisition of Suncorp Super, has enabled us to increase our size and scale, yet we remain committed to investing in the personalised member services that you know and enjoy. We serve over 230,000 members with over 32 billion in funds across under management. Our My Super option is ranked in the top 5 funds in the peer super ratings in the financial year 22 to 23. Now let's talk retirement planning. One of the most questions around retirement planning is how much you may need in retirement. If you're not sure how much you may need, the ASFA retirement standards is one guide to start with. The Association of Superannuation Funds of Australia, or ASFA, regularly surveys retirees who have paid off the mortgage and are aged over 65 and ask them what are they spending their money on. From that research, they've identified 2 types of lifestyle in retirement: modest and comfortable. For retirees living a modest lifestyle, it's probably going to be fairly conservative. Based on ASFA's research, they've defined a modest lifestyle which may include the following: take away occasional cheap restaurants, infrequent domestic short breaks, basic private health insurance, and probably owning a cheaper, more basic car. It's unlikely there would be money to travel overseas, and social activities would be closer to home. Now, take a minute to think about how much you're currently spending on your own lifestyle and how it compares to the above. These figures are updated on a quarterly basis. So what does a comfortable lifestyle look like? Members that I assist are looking forward to a lifestyle with a few more options. Based on ASPA's research, they've defined a comfortable lifestyle which may include the following. Annual domestic and occasional overseas travel every 7 years, social activities including eating out 2 to 3 times per week, maintaining a vehicle and home, and mid-level private medical insurance. Now, again, take a moment to think about what type of retirement lifestyle you are aiming for. Remember, it's not always about how much money you have, it's how you manage it, which is why early action is vital. The good news is you can choose to retire whenever suits you. There are, however, rules as to when you may access your superannuation. To access your super, you must have reached your preservation age, which is between 55 and 60, depending on your date of birth. We'll take a closer look at this shortly. You can usually access your super as a lump sum, as a pension, or as a combination of these when you permanently retire after reaching the preservation age, reach age 60, and then stop working or change jobs, or turning 65, regardless if you're working or not. The amount of tax you pay depends on your age at the time you withdraw from your super, the type of contributions paid in, pre or post-tax, the amount being paid out, and whether you're taking it as a lump sum or a pension. Do you know your preservation age?
Yes.
If everyone can just please answer. Wowee. Great. And look at that. Thank you for answering, everyone. 80% of you know your preservation age. Well, generally, your super is tax-free when you're paid to after you turn age 60. Let's take a look at when you may be able to access your super. Referring back to the poll questions, the information on your screen is called your preservation age and is set by the Australian government and is based on your date of birth. Take a moment to confirm yours. Now, remember, there are two parts of accessing your super. Firstly, you must have reached your preservation age, which is between 55 and 60. And secondly, you need to have met a condition of release. Let's take a closer look at these. A super is primarily designed to give you income in retirement. There are specific rules relating on when you can access your money. So 1, permanent retirement. You finished work, you don't intend to return to work in the future. Number 2 is cease employment on or after 60. You can also access your funds from 60 onwards if you leave your employer and go to another job, full-time, part-time, casual. Or number 3, turn 65. Upon your 65th birthday, you've got full access to your super, regardless if you're working or not. Now, please note, however, this does not apply to defined benefit accounts. Once you've reached preservation age, you'll also have the option of setting up a transition to retirement income stream. However, if you have a defined benefit account, it's worth having a chat to one of us as the conditions may apply. This allows you to use your super to supplement your income, reduce the amount you work, or as a tax minimization strategy. We'll get into this more a little later. So how much tax are you likely to pay? There are two main tax components within your super, taxable and tax-free. Withdrawals from super come out of these taxable components proportionately. The tax-free component is always tax-free, as tax has already been paid. As tax has already been paid. The taxable component may be taxed and depends on your age when you make the withdrawal. If you take a lump sum payment between preservation age and 59, it is tax-free for the first $235,000, with the amounts over $235,000 taxed at 17%, which includes Medicare levy. If you choose to open an income stream, also known as a pension account, between preservation age and age 59, then regular payments are taxed at your marginal tax rate with a 15% tax offset. Once you reach 60, withdrawals from both components are tax-free. It's important to note that both the tax and tax-free components still exist when over 60, and there can be potential tax impacts on your death benefit regardless of your age. When in an accumulation stage and in a transition to a retirement pension product, investment earnings can be taxed up to 15%. When you open up an income stream pension account, tax on your investment earnings are tax-free. It can get complex, which is why it's often a good idea to seek financial advice before proceeding to make sure that this is right for you. So what is a transition to retirement? Income stream products within Brighter Super are called pension accounts, designed to give you an income in retirement. Let's have a look at how transition to retirement pension account, also known as a TTR, works in more detail. As you're still working, your employer continues to put money into your accumulation account. Members can open a transition to retirement pension account when they have met their preservation age, but not met a full condition of release. By doing this, it is important to remember that if you are below the age of 60, there may be tax payable on the income you receive. Many members choose to set up a TTR, or transition to retirement, once they reach 60, as income from super is tax-free. A transition to retirement pension account can supplement your income leading up to retirement or help you reduce the amount of tax you pay while increasing your retirement savings. You could use a transition to retirement pension account to, one, work less. So TTR could help you cut back your work hours or take a lower paying job, and you can receive regular pension payments to supplement the income you may have lost by working less. Number two, reduce tax and increase your super. If you're aged 60 or over, you can receive tax-free income from a transition to retirement pension. At the same time, you can salary sacrifice some of your salary into your accumulation, subject to the concessional contributions cap, where it will be taxed at 15% on entry to the fund. So you could effectively pay 15% tax on the portion of your salary that you contribute to super, rather than the tax rate you currently pay when you receive this money as a salary. This strategy can also be used if you have reached preservation age, but you are still under age 60, though some tax may be payable on your pension income. Number three, reduce debt. By receiving additional income from your TTR without changing jobs or increasing your working hours. Or number four, estate planning. A TTR can assist with future estate planning needs. And remember, if you decide to access your super prior to retirement, you need to consider the impact this may have on your future superannuation balance and retirement lifestyle. We recommend talking to a financial advisor to ensure this will meet your personal objectives both now and in the future. Let's have a look at how you set up a transition to retirement pension account. You need a minimum of $50,000 to start a Brighter Super transition to retirement pension. You can choose from a range of investment options ranging from lower to higher risk. There are single asset class and diversified investment options. Next, you decide how much you'd like to receive your income. So it's currently a minimum of 4% and a maximum of 10% of your TTR account balance recalculated on the 1st of July. Payments can be made fortnightly, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, or annually based on your needs. If you're still working and your employer is still making contributions on your behalf, you may be required to retain an accumulation account. If you are retaining your accumulation account, you must leave a required minimum balance in your accumulation account, which is currently $8,000. Once you let us know you've stopped working or you turn 65 and they've therefore met a full condition of release, your account will become a full pension account and withdrawal limits will no longer apply. For defined benefit members, it is a bit more complex. Talk to one of the Brighter Super team through a Super Health Check if you'd like some more information. You'll be given this opportunity at the end of today's presentation and in a follow-up email in the coming days. Let's have a look at how a TTR income stream may work for a member. Shane's 60 years old and is looking to ease his way into retirement. He has spoken to his employer and is looking to reduce his working hours to 3 days per week. Shane also needs to maintain a similar level of income that he currently has. Shane gets financial advice and decides to set up a transition to retirement pension, which will allow him to draw tax-free income as he is over the age of 60. Generally speaking, Shane may be able to maintain a similar level of after-tax income while also being able to reduce his working hours. Remember, everyone's situation is different, so we recommend to seek financial advice on what's best for you. So, what about when you're ready to start your own retirement? What then? If you are considering retirement, a pension account may be an option for you. People retire at different ages for different reasons. Some leave paid workforce early due to ill health or because they have the money to do so, while others continue to work long after they can access their super. Once you've reached preservation age and met a condition of release, you've got the option to access your super as a lump sum, pension, or a combination of these methods. Let's have a look at how the pension account works in more detail. If you would like a regular income and want an investment that provides tax-free investment earnings, then the pension account gives you the flexibility to choose how much income you want and how often you'd like to receive it. It is important to remember that a pension account may be used if you have met your preservation age plus a condition of release or turned 65 and still working. Let's go through some of the reasons members open a pension account. This could be a member who has fully retired and wishes to now receive a regular income from their super. This allows the members to access lump sums to pay down debt, renovations, or that holiday they've always dreamed of. Alternatively, you could have opened a pension account and gone back into the workforce. In this scenario, you may wish to retain your pension account, which pays you a regular income and has tax-free earnings. You can still use the extra income to assist with your living expenses and continue to draw lump sums whilst receiving a salary and super guarantee payments from your employer into an accumulation account. Members who have reached 65 and are still working can also access a pension account to access tax-free regular income, lump sums, and enjoy tax-free earnings on investments. To summarize the diagram, you can see that you could be receiving income from both an employer and your pension account, along with super guarantee contributions from your employer. It is also important to note that you can close a pension account and roll this back into your accumulation account should you not require the income from the pension account if your circumstances have changed. Like the transition to retirement product, if you're in a defined benefit, it can be a little more complex. Have a chat to us to get the information you need. Let's look at the process of setting up your pension account. For many members, a superannuation income stream is a convenient and tax-effective way to access their money. Remember, you must have reached your preservation age and met a condition of release to access your super. To set up a pension account, step 1, set up your pension account with the minimum of $50,000 with the current maximum transfer balance cap of $1.9 million as at 1st of July 2023. Step 2, decide how you want to invest your pension. You can change your investment strategy at any time. In step 3, select the amount you wish to receive each year. The amount needs to meet or exceed the minimum drawdown amount, which recalculated each year on the 1st of July. In step 4, select the frequency of your payments. You've got full access to super once you've retired. If you move money into the income stream, you must take out a certain amount each financial year. Now let's have a look at the minimum amount you need to withdraw per year. You are required to withdraw a minimum amount each year, and this increases over time as you age. The minimum depends on your age, as you can see on this slide. For example, if a member was to establish an income stream with $100,000 at age 63, they must withdraw at least $4,000 each financial year. This minimum is recalculated each financial year on the balance on the 1st of July. Once established, a member may not add contributions under federal government rules. Once meeting a condition of release, partial withdrawals may be made from an income stream at any time. Apart from the convenience of an income stream, there are also tax concessions that may apply. Let's recap the ways in which you may access your super when eligible. There are 3 account type options when considering moving into retirement. 1, retain your current accumulation account. You've got investment options to choose from and can make withdrawals and also contribute subject to contribution rules. There are also tax concessions on preservation age prior to 60 and no tax on withdrawals after age 60. Investment earnings can be taxed up to 15%. 2, a TTR, also a transition to retirement. Access your super as an income stream while you're still working. You've got investment options to choose from, and you must withdraw a minimum of 4% up to a maximum of 10%. You cannot make lump sum withdrawal until you have met a full condition of release. Investment earnings are taxed at 15%. And number 3, pension account. Upon meeting conditions of release, including preservation age or after age 65, you can draw income as a pension account. A minimum withdrawal is required annually, which is based on your age. There is no maximum. You're able to withdraw a lump sum amount and enjoy tax-free investment earnings. You can choose which option or a combination of these options to best suit your retirement. Personal advice can assist in helping your super last the distance. Brighter Super offers personal advice services to members. More details about this shortly. For more information on transition to retirement and pension products, please visit our website. Under resources, you'll find a section of forms and info sheets where there is more information on both the transition to retirement pension account and considering a retirement info sheet. You may also find other useful documents here too. Additionally, our product disclosure statement is a good place to find further detail about pension accounts. I'd like to now hand over to one of our financial advisors, Mark. Mark will be taking you through some of the tools and calculators that we have available to help you assist in making decisions about your super. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Jack. Often when I'm talking to people about investment choice, I'm asked the question, what's the best way to invest my super? And as you could probably imagine, there's not one single investment option or profile that would be a fit for everyone. In fact, there are a number of different things to consider when choosing the right risk profile for yourself. So what is a risk profile, you might ask? Well, a risk profile is an individual measure of how you feel about risk and return, keeping in mind that there's always a trade-off between the two. It takes into account your tolerance to market falls, as well as your investment timeframe and desired return outcomes. In a perfect world, we'd all love to have high returns without any falls. However, generally speaking, the more risk you take, the better the return you should expect over time. However, the greater the chance of bigger swings in your investment value. For example, an aggressive investment is expected to generate a higher return over a long term. However, it is likely to fluctuate more during times of market volatility. What this means is that your investments may generate higher returns when markets are good over time. However, it's generally going to lose more when markets dip and produce more frequent negative return years. Alternatively, a more conservative investment, on the other hand, is likely to have fewer negative return years overall, and may not drop as far as an aggressive investment during a downturn. However, the trade-off for less downside risk is that the returns are expected to be lower over the long term. Understanding your risk profile and your investment risk is important to help better prepare for market movements and make informed decisions. The risk of being invested outside your risk profile is that if you're invested too conservatively, you may be missing out on greater returns that you could have had. However, if you invest too aggressively, you may see greater falls during market instability than what you're really comfortable with. Both of these scenarios do not result in an optimal outcome, so it is important that you know where you sit. As a starting point, you can find the Investment Risk Profiler on the Brighter Super website, as Jack said, under the Resources tab. There are 8 questions that ask you how you feel about negative returns, what actions you may take given market instability, and what your superannuation goals are. After answering each question, it will then provide you with your result and some information about the type of investor you are based on your responses. When answering the questions, I just encourage you to consider the bigger picture, because when someone asks how you feel about a negative return, we're all the same. None of us like to see a negative return. This, though, is where understanding and knowing your investment timeframe becomes relevant. For example, if you're in your 40s and you're still at least 20 years away from being able to access your super, a negative return may feel very different from someone in their 60s who's thinking about retiring now or in the next year or two. However, it is important to note that even if you are close to retirement, your investment timeframe may be longer than you think. Retirement isn't necessarily a line in the sand where you no longer invested in super. You may choose to keep your money in super or move it into a pension account where it's still going to be invested. This can help fund your retirement for the next 20 to 30 years. Once you've completed the risk profile questionnaire, you'll be provided information around your profile to help you make an investment choice. It's important to note, it does not provide a recommendation on where to invest your superannuation. It's just information to help you make that choice. If you wish to receive some help on finding the best investment option for you, then you can book an appointment with one of our intra-fund advisors. This type of advice is included in your fund membership, and the initial conversation is usually done over the phone and takes about 20 to 40 minutes. The advisor will do the same kind of process with you, asking you a series of questions to understand your risk profile. But what can be helpful is that they're going to tailor to you the answers and be able to answer any specific questions that you may have about your scenario. Importantly, they will also make a recommendation as to where to invest your super based on the results of that risk profile, and will provide you with a statement of advice so that you have a written resource to refer back to that explains what your risk profile is and the investment mix that's being recommended for you, as well as any changes to the investment fees that can result as a result of making those changes. So this is a great opportunity to actually move to our next poll question. So the question that says, have you used our investment advice service before? Tap away for your yeses and nos. Oh, interesting selections. Okay. Okay, so certainly at this point, it does seem like a large proportion of you haven't used that investment advice service before. And certainly if the idea is that you're looking to understand how you should be investing your pension account or even your super account, it's definitely a good place to start. And as was mentioned earlier, we can certainly provide you with some details about that later. For those who may not know, we offer a range of personal advice options suited to individual member needs. If you're looking for specific information about making contribution or investment strategies, that previously mentioned intra-fund advice team can help. And this is at no additional cost because it's included as part of your admin fees. We also offer a more comprehensive personal advice service, sort of thing that I do, which we will discuss in a bit more detail later in the presentation. We also have a tool on the website that models your retirement and how you're tracking towards that retirement goal. As with all modeling tools, it's based on the metrics that may change over time, so we cannot use this as a matter of fact. However, it does help to provide you with an estimate of how you're tracking and what may be achievable for you. Depending on what your level of assets are and how much you need to fund your desired retirement lifestyle, you may only need to invest your funds in retirements with lower levels of risk. On the other hand, you may be in the opposite situation and may need to reevaluate your financial position, goals, or risk tolerance in order to be able to meet your goals. For most people, we need to take on some risk to hit our long-term goals, and the retirement income calculator can give you some idea of that. There is an option to toggle between both your pre-retirement and post-retirement investment options, so you can play around with that kind of difference and see what that might make to your retirement outcome. If you're getting close to retirement, particularly if you're already over the age of 60, it may be worth getting in touch with a financial advisor to discuss pre-retirement strategies that may assist you in meeting your retirement goals. We're able to tailor your investments to your own individual situation and to ensure that you're taking the right steps in finding that balance between risk and return. There are two types of advice that might be beneficial for you. Scaled advice is personal financial advice about retirement within Brighter Super. Fees will vary depending on the type and complexity of personal advice you require, and you may be able to deduct a portion of your fee from your Brighter Super account. Topics included will be retirement, such as adequacy and commencing a Brighter Super account-based pension, transition to retirement, and determining Centrelink entitlements. These sort of appointments are generally done over the phone. Another type of advice is called comprehensive advice, which is the type of advice I provide. This provides advice to members and non-members about super and retirement strategies, both with Brighter Super and other external super funds. Your advice can also include your spouse, who may hold their super with another fund. Advice can also be provided on investments outside of super. This type of advice is usually most helpful when you've reached a milestone birthday like 60, 65, age pension, or you're starting to think seriously about retirement. For both scaled and comprehensive advice, there is an advice fee charged, which we may be able to deduct from your Brighter Super account. For further information on the advice services and what might suit you, then visit the advice tab on the website. Now I get to hand it back to yourself, Jack.
Thanks, Mark. To achieve your goal of a comfortable retirement, there's some simple steps to take from here. Think about what you are looking to achieve, and it all starts with a plan. So 1, what are you looking to achieve, and what's your goal? The purpose of superannuation is to give you income in retirement. How will a TTR help you get there? And number 2, understand the tax considerations. If you're looking to set up a pension at or after 60, it's pretty simple in relation to tax and withdrawals. But what about salary sacrifice or estate planning considerations? This is where personal advice can be invaluable. And number 3, by accessing your super now, will you be better off or worse off in retirement? This depends on your personal circumstances and what your objectives are, and brings up to step 4. Seek further help as needed. To ensure you're on track, contact us and book in for a super health check or arrange an appointment with one of our financial advisors. There's a number of services available to members. What makes Brighter Super different to the other superannuation funds? It's our commitment to personal service. We have a dedicated team of member account specialists here to support you. If you'd like to talk to one of our staff one-on-one for more general information about your superannuation, why not book in for a super health check? These are 30-minute meetings at no additional cost and can cover a range of general topics about your super. Our team services members all over Queensland with face-to-face services and also digital channels as well. So you can get some general guidance on a range of superannuation topics no matter where you live or work. And once you've got the general knowledge, the next step is to get tailored personal advice. I'd like to hand it back to Mark to speak about our advice offering.
Thanks, Jack. We offer a range of personal advice options suited to individual members' needs. You can see from the screen on your screens there. If you're looking for specific information about making contributions or investment strategies, our intra-fund advice team can help. Book in over the phone meeting with a financial advisor at no additional cost. As we discussed earlier, we also offer both scaled and comprehensive personal advice services. This service takes a complete view of your financial situation to tailor advice to suit your individual needs. There's a face-to-face meeting with one of our advisors in Brisbane or various regions throughout Queensland. Appointments can also be made via a digital channel. The cost of that is going to depend on the complexity of the advice, and this cost may be deducted from your Brighter Super accumulation account. Two of the most common questions members ask as they approach retirement are, how much super do I need to retire? And do I have enough super? A retirement health check on the right there with one of our financial advisors will help you answer these questions. It's never too early to start planning for retirement, so talk to us to find out how we can help. Thanks, Jack.
Thanks, Mark. It's great to see your financial advisor come speak with us today. You may have seen on the previous screen that we offer a range of advice services with some specific for those considering retirement or transition to retirement. So the question for you, after today's webinar, are you planning to get advice? Up on the screen, if everyone want to think about it, yes or no, let us know. And yeah, it'd be great to know. Now, while you are answering this question, webinars like this one are a great way to get specific information on a variety of topics. This is not the only webinar that we have or we will be holding. Now you can go to the website or scan the QR code on the screen to find out what is coming up. Make sure you check this page regularly as we're often adding new dates and topics. If you register for any webinars, regardless if you attend, you'll receive a copy of the recording the day following of the webinar. Wow, reviewing the responses now, almost over 80% of you are interested in getting advice. That's great to hear. Hopefully you'll make the most out of the advice offerings that Brighter Super has to offer. Now, tomorrow, when you're receiving this webinar recording, you'll also have the opportunity to book in for a Super Health Check when we can discuss these different advice opportunities with you. So please don't hesitate to reach out and book in for a Super Health Check. Okay. So we've tried to answer questions throughout the webinar tonight, but I'm going to invite both Mark and Silas to come on the screen and to ask any questions we couldn't get in the Q&A chat. And during the Q&A, we will revert back to the Super Health Check slide to give you all the information, to give you the additional time you need if you wish to book an appointment. Over to you, Silas.
Thanks, Jack, and thanks, Mark, for your presentation. It's amazing that every time I listen to you guys present, I learn one thing or two. So thank you very much. And thank you for all the participants. We've had a very interactive crowd tonight. You've sent a lot of questions, which answered some of you. And for those of you that did not get to answer you, I will personally be sending you responses later on once I've done a bit of research. Once again, thank you very much for taking the time to join us tonight.
Thanks for that, Silas. Thanks again for taking the time to come along and attend our webinar tonight, everyone. One last question, before we bring things to a close. Overall, how satisfied were you with today's webinar? Once again, thank you very much for attending today's webinar, and we hope to speak with you soon. I'm going to leave up that question just a couple more seconds, and we'll close it out. Hope you enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.